Hey you! Want to see a long-running legacy sci-fi show that started in the 1960s with a white male lead protagonist and yet is now led by a minority person of colour, but that ain't Star Trek or even the Twilight Zone? Want to watch a show about a shapeshifting alien who's so unhappy with his looks he keeps on changing his face like he's trying to give Katie Price a run for her money?
Oh good lord!
Want to enjoy a failing British institution now so Disneyfied that they've begun injecting pure supernatural fantasy into what was once educational sci-fi, and all just to have an excuse to not need to explain the science aspect of their nonsense fiction? Well, have I got just the programme for you, fella? For I give you Doctor Whomour Season 1/14. A series so thrilling. They even made a 45-minute episode where the hyperactive titular space adventurer has to stand perfectly still for the entire runtime and try his utmost best not to burst into tears again. And spoiler, something he instantly fails at.
I'm so sorry.
The show stars ex-soap opera actor Millie Gibson as Ruby Sunday, an adopted teen who turns out to be named after a random road sign what her biological mum dumped her under on a cold Christmas night because reasons. Alongside Netflix's sex education breakout star Cutie Gatois Goutois as a parkour-loving, kilt-donning, teenager-stalking, man-molesting, time-travelling, spacefaring ex-white drifter dude. Well, used to be a woman after being a bloke, but is now back to being a bloke again, because reasons.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. I'm a little lost, but fair enough.
Because turns out he indeed used to be a girl, given his Time Lord species can regenerate their forms and totally reshape their whole identity based on random chance and real-world casting quotas. And this bona fide transgender fella, who literally transed back his gender, and sexuality I guess, even has a whole history of grooming young girls and totally convincing them to come into his space van for a bit of fun. And this 15th incarnation proceeds to do exactly that, soon leading to Ruby Sunday and her much older mentor traversing the space-time continuum and meeting all sorts of new and exotic people, including world famous scousers with dodgy haircuts, creepy owl peeps and giant carnivorous slugs, and even the same woman popping up over and over again in different times and regions. And I don't just mean that annoying gingerbird who keeps coming back every 5 minutes. Chock full of star-studded cameos, from the likes of ex-80s companion Bonnie Langford, Glee superstar Jonathan Groff, and even Piers Morgan. I mean a disgusting and crusty bogey monster. Doctor Who Season 1/14 is British family sci-fi like you've never seen it before. Yep, the series is a rip-roaring ride through highly original genre themes and moral lessons. Like the need to always find the good in people, and always be careful where you step. First revived in 2005 by a man called Russell T Davies, and now revived again 19 years later also by Russell T Davies, and whose genre credits include the iconic gay 90s show Queer as Folk and iconic gay modern show Doctor Who. I mean, it's a sin. The show sure made a splash with the fan base. Well, more like went down like a bloody cannonball I guess. Given it delivered even worse ratings than when it was cancelled the first time in the 80s, got so bad the Beep even initially refused to release the audience appreciation scores for the first time in 20 years, was so well received that the best episode of the season was the one in which the title character was barely even in, and where the only relatable moment in the whole show is when the hero bursts into tears and runs away screaming from a drag queen.
Nice.
Which is sad, because the show does attempt to ask deep philosophical questions about human nature. Like, is it ever appropriate to try and track down your long lost parents even if they may not want to be found? Or can bloody white people ever not be racist?
I guess not!
Ultimately, Doctor Who Season 1/14 is a series that gets better the more you forget about its entire existence. And whilst it wasn't as fresh or inventive as the OG Season 1 back in the day, despite said season having farting foreign fatties and actors stiffer than them plastic mannequin fellas, at least this soft reboot tried something different I suppose. And whilst its attempt at an all-singing, all-dancing musical epi couldn't come close to matching the quality of other series specials, such as Buffy's Emmy-nominated Once More in Feeling, Scrubs' catchy and hilarious My Musical, or even fucking Stevens singing about always finding a way to get out of gym classes on a small flight of stairs, music maestro Murray Gold at least provided one memorable tune for this epi, what apparently featured the Beatles for all of 5 seconds yet produced not one syllable of their songs due to budgetary cost.
There's always a twist, there's always a twist, there's always a twist at the end.
Well, hopefully the twist at the end of this show is it actually being fucking good.
5 hours later.
Wrong!
So what's the verdict? Can I recommend this series? Well, depends on if you can stomach your hero taunting innocent and awfully animated space babies whilst laughing in their face as they cry their little eyes out, robot nurses that enact the wet dreams of the NHS by simply euthanizing you for any minor injury, an anticlimactic conclusion after 8 weeks of build-up that somehow looked at The Last Jedi and thought, yeah, that's a solid plot with a good twist to base a story on, completely pointless robots what say and do fuck all and may as well not be included in the story at all, and lazy nonsensical plotting, with episodes that barely even have an ending, let alone satisfying resolutions. And worse, that are written and performed by people who go on to attack and insult the traditional fan base and foster toxic relations with their own supporters.
Not a great plan.
But at the end of the day, I suggest making your own mind up about this one, so I guess you just need to ask yourself a few questions. Have you ever wanted to watch a show about a battle-hardened alien war veteran who's faced off fascist pepper pots, robot cyborgs and even the devil himself, but now cries his eyes out when faced with hurty words about his skin colour? Have you ever wanted to watch a show about a time-travelling alien what's so ancient and mysterious he goes around calling everyone babes? Or have you just always wondered what the notoriously cheap and wobbly BBC Legacy show could do with a £10 million per episode Disney investment? Only to find it sticks to the same bloody Welsh quarries, still bases stories mostly on Earth, and can't even hire decent cosmetic teams to age up the characters. I mean, this 19-year-old's supposed to be in her 40s in this scene. Well, if so, then Doctor Who Season 1/14, my friend, is the series for you.